Let me see where I can start here. My son Mark is staying with me for a while. And last night, he looked up those people who sell jewelry. Ever seen them sell jewelry to old people? And they have an enthusiasm selling junk. And when I watched them, it was absolutely disgraceful. I cannot imitate the shallowness, the lying nature of their enthusiasm and how they talk about their products, which is junk. And older people, they somehow, there's three of those channels, and every one is artificial up the gazoo. I said to myself, how would people, you want to run away from that, but people are transfixed. Diamonds glittering, it's all junk. Now, the reason why I said that, but if you go to the average church, it's exactly the same thing. And if it is exactly the same thing with, look at this beautiful diamond, and they go on for hours, half an hour, and the energy they put out, the insincerity they put out, you think older people be smart enough to see they're being screwed. They're fascinated by the person who's selling this and convincing them that nothing is something. And the reason why I said that is because if you go to the average Christian church, it's exactly the same. God help you. Because you're going to follow right through it, and you're going to listen and buy it and become programmed by it, and then give money to the person for making you feel a little bit better while you're getting worse. Just you buy a piece of jewelry and you think you got a lot of money, you got nothing. Oh, look at this 500,000 piece, you can have it for $10. Oh, we've only got one lot, maybe $11 or $12. Crazy, I exaggerated. What is the matter with people? They're so freaking suggestible. You're a civil war coming. A civil war as my name is Roy Masters. And everybody's still buying stuff and tweetering, I don't know how you call it, walking around like zombies, sort of messaging people all the time until they run into traffic. And worse, they screw like dogs copulating in an alley. What kind of people are we? We got this subject of abortion. Well, you bring up the subject of abortion, it's almost like you're bringing up something sacred. It's like crazy. And if you're not against abortion, and you don't, and Trump seems to say that he would like to punish them, damn well you need to punish them. Hey, out there, you got a problem with that? Bloody whore? What kind of maiden are you? What kind of delicate human being are you? What kind of beautiful creature are you when you give your body to some Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? But once they have been corrupted, they are whores. You only need one sin. Now, the word of sin, I like to discuss it because sin is the sinner is the subject of the temptation. And so in those days, what I call hypnosis is temptation. See, what's your name again? Catherine. I can never, everybody sounds like Catherine Schmetherine. I can't remember all of you.
It's just a name.
All right, stand up for a minute.
Okay.
Now, I want you, you're not like that. You're not like, are you?
I'm not, but that does sometimes, it'll try and creep in though, still, and I have to be quiet.
Yes, but the point is, you are kind of reformed. You don't want to lend yourself out to that kind of thing. Right?
Yes,
But you're still screwed up.
yes,
So not to be screwed up that way is good. And you're getting a little older anyway.
yes,
And so therefore, you know, the temptation to exploit men is vanishing.
yes,
Correct?
yes.
That's only because you're getting old.
Right, that makes perfect sense. No, that makes perfect sense.
But this is what I want to talk to you about. Did you get help last week?
Yes.
What did you learn last week?
Oh gosh,
Here.
Roy.
What is obvious that is now clear, or not so obvious and now clear? What would you
It's
say?
simple, Roy, it's just simple.
What?
Gosh,
You can have a little cry if you want to.
I don't think I need to, because I do cry a lot. This is good for me, because I got to learn how to talk. That's a problem.
Yes. You mean to speak up?
Yes, because I've always been, I've been conditioned to shut up. That's how I adapted.
All right, let me show you. You are beginning to get better.
Yes,
But this is a lifetime.
yes.
We can go back into the past. But you don't, if only to look at it and say, shut up, I don't need you anymore.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because when you look at, when the past comes up and you see it, it's usually the most recent past.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
it
the most recent, because I'm looking for another word, because the word more means more recent, but it's not a good way of saying it. I just caught that in time. So there's an order of situations and traumas that initiate from the very big day you were born, practically. Correct?
Yes, but you really simplified it for me one time when I was cleaning your house and you said, those are small temptations. They're small.
But all temptation is small. But when you have to face the big one, because the small ones added to another small one, added to a small one, added to a small one, is the sum total, and it's huge.
Yeah. The big one is when people
Let
get
me
mad
show
at...
you may I speak to you about you coming to my house yesterday?
Yes.
See, now, here it is why you can't be so direct.
Yes.
See? So, you work for me.
Yes.
You work for the house, you do a good job.
I clean the house.
But here was what I saw, and I let you walk away. Because it's only $35 I owe you, right?
I felt it.
Yeah. You felt the pain of it, didn't you?
Yes.
See, what you did is you can't be straight.
Because I'm afraid.
You see, you can't be straight. So what you did is, can I come and work for 4 hours? I said, okay, if you want to. So, but I didn't know you needed a car and you had been in hospital. I didn't know that, but I found out then.
I know, Roy. You're a
but
busy man.
why you're firing out? They don't know what's wrong with you, do they?
No,
Yeah, I could tell you. I can tell you what's wrong with you.
I know.
But they can't.
I know.
So you had a stroke, whatever it is.
Whatever. It's an emotional thing that causes problem, and it's
Sure,
result. But it's anger that I allow. I don't
Why?
watch it.
Why?
It's so fast. It's just that anger just is like boom.
About anything.
Yes.
So what does anger do for you?
It traps me.
How does it help you?
It traps me.
No, it makes you more dishonest.
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yes. Because I'm not direct. I'm afraid.
It makes you feel more right, because the anger towards others means like you're judging,
Yes.
and only judges.
I didn't see
God
that, but that's
judges,
true.
and therefore you are superior to the person you're judging.
Yes. Yes.
And then you're projecting the guilt to the person, even if it's only a little kid.
Yes.
And then the little kid goes crazy and starts to cry and
Yes.
does even things worse, and then it gives you more reason to judge.
Yes.
Well, I'm not a little person, so you're running into
I want
a
to
big...
take this like a woman.
Huh?
I want to take this like a woman.
You want to take a second woman?
No, I want to take this like I'm a mature woman. I don't want to be pathetic. I want to hear this like a mature woman.
Oh, yes. So I can talk to you honestly.
Yes.
And if I can talk to you honestly and you don't flinch, but you feel a little twinge of pain
Okay.
and awkwardness, is
I know
all
that.
right?
I see that.
All right, let me show you what you did yesterday.
Okay.
Or was it the day before yesterday?
Yes, whatever.
So I owe you $35.
Yes.
And the reason why I did, because I was sleeping and didn't want me to wake. I had a
Yes.
rest. I was resting.
Yes.
Which is something I rarely do.
I know.
So you call me and you say, can I work part-time 4 hours? I said, that's all right. Come anytime you want to. You're always good at what you do, and we have a mess at our house anyway, right? We do always do. But what the mistake you made, and this runs through your whole life,
Yes.
is to not say what you want up front.
Yes.
Say, listen, you owe me $35. Would you mind if I come round and pick it up? By all means.
Yes.
But you didn't.
I didn't. I was afraid.
So when you came, you said, a car's waiting for me, I only have an hour. But you knew that from the beginning. Because
Yes.
the car was waiting for you.
Yes.
See? So I thought to myself, 1 hour? To come to do some work, to come all the way from Medford? And to get in the car and come back because you had that stroke because you can't drive a car? I would have given you that $35.
I know, Roy. It was me.
But I had not to.
I
Because
know.
I need to inflict a little pain on you.
You know what happened, Roy?
What?
After that, I was able to speak up to somebody better than I ever have. Not perfect, but better than I have my whole life.
What would have happened if I did not, if I
I would have
gave
been
in to you
feeling
and
sorry
gave you
for
the
myself.
money?
I would have been feeling sorry for myself.
In other words, I would have enabled you.
I would have felt like the victim again and again.
I just want to make a point to the audience. Be straight. Just be straight.
It wasn't completely natural, but I did it.
Yes, but you learned your lesson. You came for nothing. You went home with nothing.
Yes, because I didn't deserve it.
But you did. Well,
But the
I'm not sure
lesson-
deserved.
But the lesson was more important than anything.
Why? But why? Why this deceit, the manipulation of what to do when it could have been simple? Say, may I come and pick up my money? Yes. Over. Simple.
In my
Why'd you-
head, I said, Roy is so busy.
No, you were manipulating me.
I was.
That's manipulation.
Yes.
You can't have graciousness. You're afraid of graciousness, so you make a plan.
Yes.
So you can get what you want
Yes.
without feeling
Yes.
like someone handing down to you. Look, when a beggar
Does it
stops-
matter why I did it? I mean, I see what you're saying, but it doesn't
But
matter
why didn't you do it straight? Why couldn't you say, I need my money, would you mind if I drop by, pick it up? I said, why not? But you manipulate it.
Yes.
You manipulate it.
Yes.
So what is the problem of you not being able to be straight? Now just think for a minute. Why aren't you straight? Why can't it be simple? Because simple in your mind, you don't know what that is. You're uncomfortable about that. So you have to make a story. See? Do you have a problem with people handing down money to you? In other words, I have a brother, and I won't tell you the long story, But my father died, and therefore I took over the family, 12 or 13. And my mother talked to the man in me, and I was able to make a little living, give most of it to her, and a little bit for myself. So I turned over a nickel. It's not a nickel in England, of course. But and I put the candy bar down. I saved that nickel. And the nickels grew. But what I'm saying is, I've always done things simple. Life is simple. It's right or it's wrong. But when you've lost your ground, so what has happened in your life that made you this way? Not straight, insecure, see? And so having to manipulate to survive when you could have been straight. Being straight to a person has an effect on, I can tell you, the average person is dishonest. So if you're honest to them, it's offensive to them. Correct?
Yes, I feel that when I'm with people, like, yes.
That's right. You don't come up and say, hello, Joe, or Mr. Masters, or anybody. Would you mind me give me you owe me $500. You're afraid to, you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then you make up a story. Do you mind if I come round in 4 hours? But it wasn't 4 hours. It was really 2. And I would say yes to that. But I would say, you think I'd say no to just come by and pick it up? You have to do me a favor first before do you understand, to obligate me to give it to you?
Yes.
It is a subtle thing, isn't it?
Yes.
How many people here do that? Anybody? You can sit down, Kathleen,
Okay.
now. Unless you want to talk to me. You want to share something, anything?
I think right now I want to listen.
No, okay. So does anybody else would like to talk about that? And talk about your experiences, which I can detect it, but there's lots more to it. If anyone would like to stand up.
A very interesting topic. And when you are straight with people, there's so much more freedom. You feel free.
Free, it's all over. There's not so much
It's
to
just,
it.
but when you're not going to be straight with someone, you feel the anxiety build up in your body, and you're always afraid of what they're going to say.
Well,
you're always thinking ahead.
It starts by not knowing how to deal with people.
Yes.
It starts with that. So you find a way to schmooze. In Jewish there's the word schmooze, to play little games and not do it right and come out winning. Schmooze. You pacify. You set the stage. It's all sweet and nice and say, then you get it. See
But
I
what
mean?
happens is that you start indulging your imagination. Your mind will start creating scenes and how I can just see that.
And then you overcome each scene with another scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's also an element.
What?
There's also an element when you're truthful.
You're not.
You have.
May I suggest you enunciate yourself a little bit clearer because it's a little slurred
All right.
to me.
Well, what I noticed when I don't speak up,
Yes.
I can judge the other person, but I don't see my own faults. And then when I do speak up, they give them a chance to rebut me, and then I have to face myself and see where I actually failed.
Say that again.
So when you keep it inside,
Try to elaborate just a bit more.
well,
What are you keeping inside?
this happened at work.
Let me have a situation. Make a situation.
At work, I was resenting working too hard.
Working too hard.
Yes, I was doing too much.
Why would you work too much? For approval? Or driven by other means, like trying to do better than other people?
Yeah, that's more of it.
In other words, you had some pressure at home and it called you good for nothing, so you tried harder and harder to do the right thing.
No, I don't think there was pressure at home. It was more that I wanted to prove myself to demonstrate what I could do.
So in other words, something was missing, so you tried harder to make it right. Is that correct?
Right, but I mean, part of it wasn't all my fault, meaning the whole.
What was that? What was behind not being?
Well, the people I have to work with, they have their own egos, and so they kind of sabotage the way things are
But
going.
they're overpowering. You know, the people you work with are. They can have. I can't find the words for it, but you got to be careful. You might lose your job or something. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So you have to tiptoe around that.
Well, to a degree.
Yeah. But so keep going though.
Well, what I
I'm just
noticed.
I'm just fishing.
What I noticed was that if I don't speak up, that gives me a shelter for not seeing myself. And so
And
when
then-
I do speak up, I have to actually look at myself as well. And so you're much better. Go ahead.
Right, I know all those things are true, you know, that play things and everything that's going on with conversation, but what I know is that when you told me, Catherine, you come here and you work at your own pace, and you leave when you need to, and that freed me, that erases everything. It
That's
freed
right.
me, if I just stay on conscious of that, because all these things try to pull you all these
That
ways.
would have worked, wouldn't it? I gave you the freedom to do that.
Yeah, I feel that freedom from you all the time, no matter what.
So why would you manipulate me then? See? Something's not finished. Would you consider that? Even if you don't have an answer to it now?
Okay, yes, of course.
I got $35 before you leave. You want it?
I know, Roy. It's silly, I know, but it's my life.
When you're honest with people, they reject you.
Yeah.
So there's a fear of rejection.
Anybody? You understand? Okay, so we have another symptom here.
Well, I think I don't know for sure, but I can feel the same thing, not from you, I don't work for you, but
Yes.
that I'm afraid if I'm straightforward, that the person I'm straightforward is not going to approve of me, is not going to like me.
Straightforward is honesty
Yes,
and truth.
yes.
And you're afraid because you're afraid you might hurt somebody's feelings.
But it's only because how they're going to think of me. It really doesn't have to do with them.
But you're thinking how they think of you.
Right.
So you're coming to, what you're doing is not sorting out the good people from the bad
Mm-hmm.
people. So you keep them all the same.
That's true.
See?
Yes, yes.
So you'll never find, with that attitude, you'll never find a
Mm-hmm.
good person. A person that could really be your friends because you're straight. But you don't know how to be straight without being angry.
That's a big, yes, that's it right there. That is exactly it. I go to my
Do you
job.
understand the subtlety of everything? You see how easy
Yes.
I come to this? Because
Yes.
I'm honest. I deal with you people, as you said. I'm talking to you that now. I'm not worrying about whether I hurt your feelings or not, or whether you ever come back. If you don't come back and you don't like me, drop dead. I don't care. But if you come back and you get better, that's what I like. It's a way. It's win for me. It's good. I have what I should have, a friend. But if there's not any good in you and you drop dead, to make a point, to make it nice and stark, huh? My problem goes away. I told my wife that. You straight or drop dead, and it works for me both ways.
You know, I remember when I was a young child, or even now with my family is not the kind of people that really want to hear the truth, or they can't really hardly take a joke. You know, so I can see that affecting because at an early age, you know, like you always tell the story about where the grandson is in the grocery store and sees a gal with a big behind and mentions it.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, right. But that kind of honesty.
I have
they-
to have to tell that now. We have to. It's a story, and this is honesty. We're in Walmart, and David was 3 or 4 years old. He's 63 now. That's how far it goes back. But this is this woman. She must have been 500, 400 pounds, and she had a huge butt. I have never seen. You could get out of the rain with it. And he says, "Dad, look at this woman's huge butt." And the woman looked around like that with what a great gaze of anger. And he stood there. It was true. Then he said one day he saw a man with a bald head. What did he say? Oh, it was some comment. I forgot. I'm sorry to say it's such a long time ago. It was funny, so I'm sorry to make this break here because I forgot what he said. But I like the one with the butt. That will do fine. Because she turned around and looked at him and it didn't bother him. He didn't think he did anything wrong. He just said she had a big butt. And you don't get people coming around saying, "You got a big butt, you got a big butt, you got a big butt." Nobody ever says anything about it, do they? They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and it isn't their business anyway, right? But a little kid, without any problems, any background sufferings, he sees this and he doesn't understand. And he just makes a comment, which is true. My job is, I'm trying to find a word for it, because in a sense, you all got big butts like that. And I have to be honest with you. I can't walk around and see all those faults and not say anything.
But Roy, we live in a society now where there's a war on speech. You're not supposed to say certain words. I mean, look at how far we've come. Because the children, I mean, I can see when I was a kid, then I'm sure my parents discouraged me from saying, things like that in public, of course, and then make it, like a really big deal. And then now we're to where you can't say.
Yeah, but you see, look how you allow yourself to be limited.
Oh, yeah, no, and I don't, and I will say Merry Christmas
that's
to
a
somebody
crime.
and something like that, but what's that?
That's a crime against your unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever heard anyone call me up to correct me on my show?
No.
No. I say the damnedest things, don't I? I call it like it is. I risk everything. But I actually don't risk anything. I'd risk if I didn't. If I did say these things. I'm not politically correct. And that's your danger, that's your hypnotic state. Politically correct is the name of mass hypnosis. You won't speak. So this is how the media will talk about things like that. Oh yes, Obama, he doesn't know what he's doing. Excuse me, but he does know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You're making a bloody excuse for this man, you little fricking coward. But that's why I'm not invited on TV anymore. I used to be a breath of fresh air, going from place to place when I was young. I would create a huge, cry of, you can't let this man stay on you. But it was a lot of people, thousands of books I'd sell. I can't sell one now because I've got good at saying what people need to hear, but they don't want to hear it because they want to hear it. Bless you, bless you, bless you. They don't want to hear it because they haven't got the courage to follow through what I said. Obama is a communist and a Muslim and he's taking you down, you damn fools. I talk about abortion. You're a whore. And that's what's wrong with our country. And since you've had 50 million murders, so you've displaced an American with some other foreign person who doesn't understand. And Rome, do you understand what happened to Rome? It's becoming such a beautiful place, the enemies of Rome would come and enjoy themselves and work for cheap. And slowly but surely, there was more of them than Romans. And they had a civil war. And it went down from there. So what we're talking about, people who have, and screw you out there, if you don't like what I'm saying, just turn it off, because you haven't got the guts to face yourself. See? So you've had you had a free life, you're having sex like two dogs in an alley. What kind of human being you are? This country cannot possibly survive without virtue. And virtue begets, lack of virtue begets more sin, more degeneration, and more help to make you feel better than you're worth. And so what you got is you can't function, you're not a citizen, you are addicted to something or somebody, and it's a political thing that will rise the occasion and embolden you to your death. Because if you're emboldened to your death, you make what's the word I'm using? Where you kill babies, what's the word I'm using? No, it's not emotion. It's a perversion.
Freedom of choice.
No, it's just it is.
Human sacrifice, I mean, is what it
Yeah,
is. Do you
but
think?
we've lost the real word. It is abortion. To abort a baby and kill him or it. And turn your head to the fact that it's cutting the little baby into little pieces. And you find that out and you still don't speak up. And then you have a whole mess of women who are non-virtuous, disgusting, degenerates. Now I want to tell you, if you don't like this, you call my program, you miserable person, you coward. But there's enough of you out there to kill 50 million babies and replace them with people from other countries who are not Americans and haven't a very good idea of what we stand for, what virtue is.
But even they know they shouldn't be killing babies. I mean,
Yeah, but they
that's
know,
the-
but they do it.
No, but I mean, here we're killing babies, and then countries that we look down on, they know, they look at us and they think, well, how could they do that?
Yes, I'm sure that.
So even though they aren't like Americans, they can see that there's
but it's
something
worse
wrong.
for Americans to make it legal
Yeah.
and to give them the right to be wrong and cause us to be wrong to be right. You frickin' degenerates. Now, that doesn't mean to say I'm sending you to purgatory. But I want you to call my radio program and see if you can defend your status. You have set this up to fail, and naturally, because you're so bloody guilty, you will elect a person who loves you as you are. Got it. And so what are you going to do? Displace all 50 million people with another 50 million people, and my God, you're going to invite, that's why you're going to, this is all part of his legacy, Obama, just to swamp our country with non-country people. Now, I'm not saying you won't get some people that are good, but with it is going to come a lot of bad people. You better take care of yourself now, because martial law is coming, and he's setting it up right now. He's getting his armies that you don't know. The czars do not have discussions with themselves. They don't discuss the business of America. They're training 1 million Muslims a big amount of Muslims. That's why they're so quiet. That's what they're doing. But you don't see it because you're drunk and you're taking drugs and you're fighting with your wife and you're worrying how to pay your house. You don't see it. And you don't want to see it. Your wife is swapping with another man swapping with your wife or somebody else's wife. And that's 35 million of those. Only virtuous people, when God says, to Israel, he was going to destroy them and et cetera, it's because the same thing happened there. They got up and played. That's the way they said it. And Rome had lost. The reason why Rome fell, for the same reason, cheap labor, displacing people who did the right, created the beauty of Rome, and denying them of their financial rights. See that? And so there it is. So you have a whole bunch of Romans who had virtue. Replace them with people who have no virtue, and then you got bread and circuses.
I just can't understand why the men of this country, I feel like taking up a march, and I've thought of it.
So stand up a minute so we can hear you.
Do it.
You're talking through his head. Even if it's hollow.
No, I always think about, why haven't the men come out and gathered together all over? I just don't understand what happened.
The program of communism is, the Bible says, if I can remember it, there will come a time when women and children will reign over the men. Goodbye. The divine order is broken. And so if you set it up and give women more rights and no fault divorce, they're going to opt to get out and no longer be a servant to a man who's weak or feeble or bully. They will get out rather than resolve it. And therefore, the man is left, and the women are extolled and praised. Women have more rights than men. A man can hit a woman and go to jail. Just touch her and go to jail. But the other way around, it's not a crime. She can do what she wants to him. And he, as a man, he's not going to complain. But it's the same thing. Men are more stalwart when it comes to those things. Touch a woman, and into jail you go. And no mercy. And what you need to do every now and then is to grab hold of her and say, sit down and shut up and stop playing games with my head. Sit down. That's what needs to be done. But the minute you do that, you break the law. That means she has freedom to drive you mad. And to give you witness to that, suicide for men over 50 is up 40%. Because they can't do anything. Go to jail. They can't take a stand. And that's what will eventually bring the woman over and the children over the men. And everything's upside down.
I wanted to say one thing about what that lady was saying there. America's changed, since when I was a kid. And I remember when I was growing up, if they would have had homosexual teachers in the schools, the fathers would have got together in the neighborhood and stormed the school. I'm sure they would have.
Oh, sure.
But went down to the PTA and demanded
But
that they
slowly but surely they lost their rights.
Right.
Slowly but surely.
And not that they were all that right, but but they
Do you
wouldn't. They
understand
wouldn't
what
have tolerated
martial law
that.
is?
Pardon?
Do you understand what martial law is?
Yes.
Do you understand when that happens, Obama is going to release his armies that are training in secret, and they're mostly Muslim. I'm changing this to being a little political, but it's still very important because of the slide. You're allowing in your own weaknesses, in your own problems with your drugs and your alcohol and your different diseases and your suffering, and going to the doctors and going to the hospitals all the time. If you don't get drunk solve your problems with alcohol, you solve it with legal medicine, and you're taking legal medicine as a solution to your problem when it's only lack of virtue. You will not have any problems. Now, I got problems, but I've been a little problem. I'm just finishing off a bladder infection. But I've had that for 12 years because I've had 3 operations on it, and it never needed a first one. To put it rather simple, constipation, whatever that is, causes prostate problems. Simple. And you don't have to have too much imagination, but they start to cut away at your prostate as if that was the problem. You got crazy doctors in this country. You got the good ones disappearing, and you got people disappearing because they're importing doctors, because the amount of misery and suffering and sickness and diseases are so great that nearly every family's got it. Every person in the family is miserable, broken, psychologically, demoralized. There's no cure for any of it. It's always drugs, operations, and trainloads of kidneys go out every year. See? All you need is virtue. And virtue means, could I have my $35, please? Thank you. That's all it takes. And it goes from there. It goes from there. But you don't like to ask, you like to manipulate. See that? You want to be ahead of the game. There's nothing wrong with, can I have my $35, please? Yes. It's yours. Make it yours, but don't beg for it. So if you're not for begging for it, you set up a scenario, right? A situation.
Yes.
Where I'm obligated to give it to you, because you haven't got the grace for me to hand it to you. See that? You're afraid of I might hurt my feelings by asking you something which is already yours. That's how bad it is. So let me take it to this. So when I speak about addiction, which I did, as causing degeneration in the ability to stand up to the government and to anything else, your wife, your dog. See? It doesn't matter. And make a friend of your dog because your dog loves you, therefore you must be all right. That's not the truth. You got a shaggy God. That's what you got, that's all. So, where am I going with this? You need to, there's lots of things around you that are wrong. And dead wrong. You're married, and women speak 6 times as many words as men do. Right? And they push. Oh, you're a cheapskate. All kinds of things. And nag. And she's got sex to give him, and as long as he's addicted, the woman is going to give in, and slowly but surely get angry, and then drop dead. That's what's happening. Women are difficult. But women are made especially difficult by having what I call metaphorically, the devil on the doorstep of the woman with regards to the law. There's a law, the law, women have more rights than men. So therefore they're in charge of men. And if you don't do what the woman wants and you stand up, you go to jail. Now time is coming in the Bible, and you got another one coming, but I can't talk about Clinton. That could be the whore that Bible mentioned, couldn't it? So I'm not saying that, but that could be, because she's running for president. And I'm not going to give you my opinion on it, but it could be that's the law that the woman of the bitch that rises to the occasion in the last days, right? The Bible talks about that.
Jezebel.
So, huh?
Jezebel. Jezebel.
Is that Jezebel? You sure of that?
Yeah, positive. That's what the Bible says.
Okay. So that could be those things. The Bible is 100% correct in projection, because I can project what you're going to do next. I can project what Obama's going to do next, because I read him. He's a common person, is easy to read. You could marry one like that. And if you were smart, you wouldn't marry him. But, he seems like a nice guy, and he's polite, and he's a gentleman, and he may have some money, and he's got a degree, and you think he's so sweet and nice. He's married, but Obama's wife is the boss. She tells him what to do. Simple. And she's a communist. And she gets her information, and while they're having sleep and having sex with each other, she tells them what to do next. That's what he is. He's a freaking homosexual. There's probably a whole bunch of people he's had murdered before he got to be president. He didn't have his license, but somehow he had enough media to overcome that and shut us up. And so you see fundamental transformation. Everybody going, "Hey!" Stupid bastards. The whole bloody lot. Stupid bastards. And not only are they stupid, but they're stupefied enough to do it twice. And they've cursed this country to oblivion. And you're going to die from it. He's got 25 million body bags, and that doesn't bother you. You don't say, Mr. President, why did you buy 25 million body bags? Because it seems like you're preparing for something. You don't need 25 million body bags for your soldiers, I hope. It's for the civilians. What are you up to? No, but there's that. You don't even dare to talk to your next door neighbor because he's a liberal. And so you want to be friendly with everybody? No, I don't want to be friendly with anybody. So if I have a next door neighbor move in, hi Joe, how you doing? Welcome to my next door neighbor. Welcome to the world around us. We all care for each other here. I hope to have a nice relationship with you. See, what do you think, Obama? You need to go there. You need to go there. You need to find out where he's coming from. Because the Jewish people and the Arabs in Israel, they worked together and they were friends. That was before Israel became Israel. And then there was a fatwa, which to me is a fat woman to me. I don't know what a fatwa is, but I guess I do. So when they moved into Palestine, whatever it is, and Israel was there, and they had a puny little piece. They didn't have any guns or anything like that. They won the war anyway. But what it was, because they were Arabs, or whatever they were, the fatwa came down the fat man came down and said, if you are friends with Israel, we're going to kill your family. That's it. And that's because they didn't have the guts to say no. I think I'll take my family over and be friends with the Israels. No, they're afraid. Gutless. Gutless, gutless, gutless. And now generations of Palestinians, and the Palestinians are strong and vicious because the forces behind it want them to be broken. They could have easily have straightened it out and made them a friendly relationship with Israel. That could have been done a long time by Arabs and all the various Arab type of people. But they wanted it to be never, ever resolved. And make them suffer, and make them think that Israel's the bad guy. When they are the bad guy. And there's a bad guy behind the Palestinians. And what you got in America is the same kind of thing. Black Americans have been freed from the South. They come to the North from their plantations. The plantation is a prison. And so therefore they're freed from the prison. But see, this is how it all works while you lose your life. It's just variations of the same theme. And so for many hundreds of years, many years, they were slaves. And slaves, for instance, you're a slave. And if you're a slave to your mother, if you have a love-hate relationship, your mother will rule you and you can't say no. And she gets angry if you don't do as you said. And she will love you and love your appeasement. And so the Black Americans in those days with plantations, as long as they appeased, they were all right. But they were decent, but they had to appease to protect their family. I get that. See that? I get that. There's a time to appease. There's a time to lie. In Germany, the Nazis knock on the door. Do you have Mr. Finkelstein and your family in there? And the Christian lady lies. She says, no, they were here a little while ago, went down the street, they're in the cellar. That's a good lie. There's good lies and bad lies. You've got to know the difference. You've got to know that it's time to, if you're an Arab, and the big boys say, if you continue a friendship with your Israeli friend, who are really friends, they're good people. Nothing wrong. Arabs are basically good people. Except they're controlled by political correctness. In Japan, political correctness. How did that go away? A nuclear bomb, Nagasaki, right? What was the other place? Nagasaki and
Hiroshima.
say again.
Hiroshima.
Hiroshima. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's been a long time since. So the shock of 2 nuclear bombs, wiping out cities, the trauma converts them. See, if I shock you, I can shock you to be good, but you wouldn't be good. Because I just change your nature from hating me to imitate me, to please me, which is okay, because in that transition, people will have the opportunity to become real, while other people may still not be unreal. See that? But they have to go along with the good people. That's what it should be in this country, don't you think? That there be an extraordinary number of good people compared with the bad ones. But what Obama's done is broken families, having political people metaphysically speaking, on the doorstep of the women, and taking them, the black Americans, see, and as they evolved and spread to the north, they were waiting for them in the cities, because the psychology of communism understands that once a person has been violated, especially for generations, they are drawn towards the bully for reassurance that everything's okay. So they cross the border and come to north. When they come to north, they can't make a living. When they can't make a living, they gather around these inner cities, and the Democrats reward them. Basically, if we give you a nice iPhone, if we give you so much money a year, so it will entitle you, and we'll take the money from the tax people who work, that pay taxes, we make sure that you will have all you need. So what you got is the demoralization of black Americans. And then you got gangs, which should all have been put in jail a long time ago. But they were the army that made sure that they never learned anything, and they became dependent upon the reassurance that their way of life is normal, so a woman can have 3 kids without any, and get $4,000 a month and have no husband, as long as she votes for Obama. That's all she's worth. And his offspring are the same way. They're born into nothing. So, and what do they do? They get a measly something, but they can never grow and unfold like an American. And then you got the gangs making sure that they don't get an education. There's movies made about that, right? You've seen the movies about that, where some hero comes and fixes the school, and then the liberals come and make sure that the dope addicts get back to them anyway and fire him. You seen the movies like that? Didn't take a bit of notice. Nobody, listen, our veterans, they're being murdered right now. Being murdered. But it's in the news. We all know about it. And we go about looking for stuff and nursing our miseries. We don't protect our soldiers. They give their lives to us, but we don't give our lives to them. We're just a miserable country. I'm not sure I want to be here anymore. Because when martial laws, you got what I want to call him, attorney. He has an attorney degree. He's your president. But he's broken all the laws. You say nothing. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. But it was a difficult thing that with this and that happened. Gaddafi got murdered. We left Iran, whatever it is. Everybody knows he's doing everything wrong, he's reducing the army, blah, 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 blah. We're going, fundamental transformation meant downwards, not upwards. You read him wrong, doublespeak. And you can't see it. But if you have any insecurity, he seems like a wonderful baby, he can help me. No, you don't need any help from anybody. You think I needed help from anybody? Yes, every now and then. When I first started, a man took me in, a friend of my friend who's a champion boxer. And he was a butcher, but he loved his friend, and his friend invited me, and I didn't have enough money. And so I stayed with him for a while and said goodbye. I put my stuff in the old truck, diamond cutting, and went around and made a good living, and that was it. So I took the money. I said goodbye. And he said goodbye to me. I never seen him again. And they died a long time ago. But he was kind enough, accepted the kindness, appreciated it. It's all he needed to do. He needed to forget me, and I need to forget him. But you'll always be grateful. I've always been grateful, and my gratefulness is a result of me being successful. Grateful, 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 but I don't owe him anything, and he doesn't owe me anything. See? He doesn't feel important about himself. He did the kind thing for me. I never forget him. And the good thing he did was to help me, and that will help him in paradise, right? I don't have to reward him. I just say thank you. So I want you to say thank you, but you make sure you leave some money behind. That's just joking, sorry. You didn't laugh. Now you do. But you see, what I'm trying to say, your silence, your political correctness, when you hear the news saying this and that, IRS, it hasn't been solved, has it? For the Republicans? They pick and choose the Republicans and didn't give them their 501c3s, but they want to, but they did it to everybody else. You got Hillary with all those problems she's got. Well, if that was me, how could I apply to be to want to be a president of the United States? What? I couldn't. All you have to do is call me. All I need is, from the very beginning, 50 years ago, Roy Masters is a cult leader. Well, everybody believes it. But if you've got enough money, you can overcome anything. And because you got the people can lord it over you and snuff you out, because you keep reappearing and reappearing as with all your nice clothes and all the advertising and everything. So eventually you buy it, and then you vote for it. As long as you sense it's going to be nice to you and makes you sure you get some of my money as welfare. And all you're worth is a vote, you miserable creeps. Black Americans, though, should take heed for that, because they've taken the ones that were broken, and they'd started to develop families that kept on breeding broken people. And you got millions of them now. I tried to talk to them on the radio saying, you're wonderful people, but look what's happened to you. You're guarded by your gangs to make sure you're nothing. It makes you independent. And when the time comes for civil war, and all of a sudden there's no more taxes left to feed them, oh wow, you can see what's going to happen. They're going to come and take it from us when they're hungry, like the people in Europe, what they call it, immigrants, millions of them. They're going to turn into ISIS. They're going to eat you because they're hungry. And they invade the country, and Putin understood all that. But all this is coming about. This whole world is falling apart. America is becoming too weak to do anything about it. We've got our own problems. We're going to be invaded from all sides while we're fighting each other. All planned. Fundamental transformation meant down, out. And you could have stopped it, but you cursed yourself by giving him another chance. It's over. I can't help enough people because people are so demoralized. Like yourself, you're nice people, but you still have afraid to speak up for yourself. You lack the glow of honesty. That glow is from God. I radiate. You're attracted to the radiation. Then you put me on a pedestal and make it worthless. I'm not God. You can't put me on a pedestal. But then I have to tell you, don't put me in a pedestal because I can't help you. And then I'll lose you and go find somebody else you can put on the pedestal. And he's one of those preachers that sell God, Jesus as if he's selling cheap jewelry. Got to stop being pussycats. You have to have a pair of balls. Even the women have to go find some. I think they're cheap enough, lots of dead people. Sorry. But you need to have it in your heart. Now, I don't mean that you should run around egotistically saying blah, 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 because you've plenty of those. You have to see, and this is the bottom line, the 7-minute meditation has no religious words on it, but it defines the meaning of what be still and know is. And when you are being still, you will know. And you won't know why you know. Now, you see, do you see me got notes here? Do you see me every Sunday morning on the radio with a note? Do I know what I'm going to say? No. I don't care. What I'm going to speak about, here I am. I've got something to say. I know you need something. I don't know what it is yet. But all of a sudden, I'm asking you a question. I answer something in a way I've never opened before. And you are beginning to get benefit, aren't you? Because I'm touching the nerve. I'm touching what's wrong with you. Average American is so thick in denial. It's got a new normal. And so half of you are now juxtaposed, the other half. On top of that, you're going to be invaded. So you've got half the Americans are no damn good. The other half are not good enough because they got the preacher speaking like he's selling cheap jewelry. He's got the same way of convincing you that Jesus loves you only because he said so. And therefore he's believable. And you're believing the wrong person. Yes, Jesus does love you. But because he's sold you and mesmerized you and enthralled you with his charm. And Jesus is this, and Jesus is that. And come up. I can't imitate it. I'm not so artificial that I could even stop. And they can't even stop. They go on for hours. I don't prepare my talks. They can't do anything else without being dishonest. They are completely dishonest, most of the preachers, and that's what's wrong with American Christians. If there were Christians of the Civil War when Washington was here, even then you had found a very few people who stand up to England. Washington only had 3,000 men, without shoes and without powder. You can thank them. But do you? You take this for granted. Do you? You have soldiers under halfway decent administrations, especially under Ronald Reagan and people like that. You had freedom, but you missed your freedom because you've become a nation of gutless wonders. See, I came to America because I saw John Wayne. He actually became one of my supporters. Maurian Manson, I think his name is. It was some word like that. I picked up a check one day. He said, "Who's that?" He says, John Wayne. He has a different Marion something or other. Lucy, she also supported me. And then the fellow, the homosexual that played the piano, he even liked me. I was a bit scared of that. Who knows? He may have just changed. But what you need to be is honest. And honest. What is so difficult about honesty? What's difficult about being honest is you might hurt someone's feelings because they're dishonest. But they look like they're honest. But that's how you can tell if they're not honest when you're honest. All of a sudden they're not like you. See how that is? But then you have to deal with it. So what? You don't like me? Goodbye, nice knowing you. I'll find someone who does. And so you sort them out by being honest. But that's how your life changes. You get different friends. Otherwise you're stuck with the people you're afraid to speak up to. And that's the president who won't call ISIS by its right name, murderers. And then you may say to yourself, that's not right, but you don't stand up for what's right. Not just you, but you see, it's such a malaise that if you stood up in your job in Costco and said that, or if you just mention it to someone, you'd lose your job, wouldn't you?
I turned in my notice yesterday for quitting on Saturday, and it's a very interesting thing because we're talking about being direct over here. And I told her, the office manager, directly what was going to happen, and she had a hostile response. Well, who's going to help on May 7th? You know, we have a new girl over here, and I'm like, and what I found is that after telling her something directly, when I have a hostile response, I start mincing my words, then I become indirect. I kind of was like, hey, you know, I've got to move on. You know, my life has changed. I've moved. I said the right things, but I was reacting to her hostility, and I'm thinking to myself, after 13 years, why can't you say something a little more pleasant to me?
Thank you for being a good worker. Which you were.
Now, the doctor would have had a better response. I had to talk to her, and I know that he doesn't correct her.
Well, what you do is not to be rude to her.
No.
Just say, thank you. I enjoyed working here. But she gets pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
But let her get pissed off while you just watch it.
And it's for years. It's been yes.
All of a sudden, you have affected her.
Yes.
And she has not affected you.
Yes.
And you leave her boiling.
You've got
she's dead.
That's right.
She is dead. If everybody was like that to the boss and worked and said, I'm quitting now, I've got to go forward, he should say, God bless you.
Right.
Thank you for being nice. But they're hostile.
Yeah.
Because they've been using you.
Yes.
No.
And I knew it.
But when you work for something, they are using you. But you've offered the use. Mm-hmm. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But they've seen you as a slave. They've seen you differently.
Oh, yes.
They see you as less. Mm-hmm. I love my people work here as more. I like Paul. I don't look down on him. I look up to him. Mm-hmm. He does the right thing.
Yep.
Always. Now, if he wants to quit, God bless you. I miss you.
And I had been shuffling other jobs around, and everybody's like, congratulations, you know, they still want to, you know, keep me on the weekends and stuff, which is why I gave up working for the doctor.
But what if they wanted to quit and didn't know what you knew? They would get frustrated because they got criticized and put down.
That's right.
And they walk away worse.
That's right.
And so does that person. It's all, everything stays ugly.
But when she got hostile, I didn't want to become apologetic. That was the thing.
That is good. Now, it resonates in your voice. You used to
Right.
have a gentle voice, but your voice is much stronger. Your voice is working, please don't hurt me. Right?
Yeah. Huge
And
difference.
your husband's
Well,
getting better.
Well, I talked to my mom, I told you a couple of weeks ago, and I told her, you cannot raise children in this world and make them frightened of other people. You cannot do that to people.
But that's what you
I
said.
told her,
That's
I
what
told
she
my
was doing
mom
to
that.
you. She was
Yes,
doing that to you.
and what's more, I told her, when we hang up with each other, when you say you love me, I'm not going to say it back because our relationship is not based on honesty. And until it is, I won't say I love you.
And what did she say?
She got it. Well, she actually pretended we had a bad line. And she says, would you email everything to your sister so you can... She tried to get me weak again. She kept saying that she couldn't understand what I was saying.
With all due respect, Mother, shut your mouth.
I'm not going to play the game.
With all respect.
Yeah.
Meaning you're not angry, but you've got to close that trap.
But I know she heard me. I know she heard
That's
that
right.
you... Yeah. So this has been helpful.
A lot of this comes down to breaking the links of generation to the generations, which has gone like that. So everybody is standing in your mother's shoes, and then your children stand in your shoes, right? To make it simple. And so it's important to finish your business and cut the connection to the past. So you go up to your parent and you say something like this. When you're ready, remember it's all intuitive. You don't get up one morning because Roy said it. Follow that. So I'm just suggesting, not commanding. You've got to be careful that what suggestion becomes a command and then you do it wrong. Got it? That's how subtle everything's getting. So you get up in the morning, and all of a sudden one day, you begin to realize that you're much happier now because you're not reacting, and you've listened to this old Englishman here, and you've understood it, you've seen it, I've got you to see it, but I didn't cure it. It's just seeing it is enough, and it relieves you, and I'm not in the picture anymore, or less. Correct?
That's right.
That's what I want you to be, your own person, and not the extension of this evangelist. Me, I don't want to be one of them. Okay, so you go to your mother or your father, and she may be lying in bed with cancer. Let's say the bad scenario, right? And you say, Mother, I have done you wrong. I have to admit it. Oh dear, well, what is that, dear? Would you like to tell me? I said, would you like to hear it? She says, okay. She says, even if she's miserable and lying in bed like that, can't wait for her to get better, she might die before she heard it. And if she doesn't like it, she might die quicker, which is more merciful. See? So you need to say, I just have to admit I sinned against you. Oh, what's that? Well, I couldn't help myself because you were so rotten. So, see that? So, you're hateful. You're a hateful person. And she gets upset. But you need to say it. And then you have to be prepared for, to be really criticized. A balaka blast. Is it? How do you say that? Banaka blast. Yeah. And you have to stay calm because you're going to bring the whole ugly thing out. And you stay calm. I said I was sorry for hating you. That's what got me to be like you and got me to lose my ability to speak up to anybody or to be as bad as you with your cancer because that's what you deserve. And it's about time when you're lying on your deathbed to stop being angry with me now. I'm telling you what I couldn't tell you when I was a little kid. I'm not a little kid now. You were not right to me. But I'm going to tell you, I let it go. I just want you to know to be careful how you deal with me. Words to that effect. It doesn't have to be. And if she screams and drops dead right there, you feel nothing. If she says, you know what? That makes sense. You will see her sitting upright in the bed next morning, cured or dead. Now you say to yourself, what kind of power is this? You don't see people calling me, do you? What you see me doing is saying the same things to them. I'm saying there's certain people listening to me, and some of you are no damn good. Correct? So when you turn the radio up and your friend says, do you know him? What's the matter with you? What's wrong with it? So he gets out the car while it's still going at 60 miles an hour. I've had that happen, it's to try at least. They couldn't stand it so much when I was talking to them like that. I'm talking about hitchhiker. So I say to the audience, scares the crap out of them. I say, if you are reacting already to these words of truth, you got no answer. You are reacting to it, and you know who you are by your reaction. On the other hand, if you're a decent person, but still broken like the other one, but you appreciate what I'm saying, because it's real and I have to be real. I've got to be real. This is not a game. It's real. All I have to be is real. Straight to the point. Sometimes gently, but still to the point. It all depends upon how God is operating through you. There's no decisions you have to make. Got it? How it should be done. Just do it. And it will come out right. As long as you're with Him. The energy, the amount of energy, the timing, all perfect. And so the one that hates you is imprinted by it. That I got to them, but they haven't got to me. And if I'm standing in front of them, it would even be worse. See, I'm not going to be shy. You could be 10 feet tall. Got it? I'm not shy. But the point is, it's very subtle. I say to them what you don't need to say because it's going to happen. But since I'm on the radio, I have to explain it. Because you hate me, you got two chances now, which you never had before. When you made me angry with you, and you doing unto others what was done to you, I let that go. You never got to me, see? Or your kind never got to me. I'm better. Now, I say this to you from a good place. You're going to die if you don't listen to what I have to say. You have a choice. The other one lives. You live. And you have a possibility of unfolding like a flower. But you can't sit there. Can't do it. You got to do it. But is the wisdom of it, do you have it, or are you going to listen to just the Roy Maas telling you, which won't work? You have to have the intuition, the guiding light within you. So don't try to do it just bang like that. Let it happen. Consider it. And before you know it, you're doing it. You don't have to decide. You just all of a sudden find yourself doing it. And it's no big deal. So the person you're talking to has two choices. He has the choice used to have the choice between going along with a bully or becoming a bully. There is no other choice. You're dead for the rest of your life. But some people like being a bully, and some people like to be appeaser to the bully, so the bully remains a bully. And he's guilty for giving in to a bully. Now, a person could bully you for a long time, and there could be a time, if you're a slave, you've got to be careful. But you have to show strength. You can't show cower to a person. And they begin to look at you differently. See that? So we're talking about slavery. But you're not a slave yet. When you work for someone, you're not a slave yet. So you could have two people that see something wrong with the country, with the business. They both see it. One is weak, one is strong. But they both look strong, and they both go up to the boss and say what they need to say. And the boss goes, right? You stand your ground. And the other one folds. Got it? And all of a sudden you find yourself being accused by two people, not one. You know you're in the wrong place. It's better that you know you're in the wrong place than stay there, because it means to free you to be in the right place somewhere down the line. Correct?
Yes.
Why am I talking to her? So you get the idea now that when I speak to people on the radio, they're scared. They're so scared. The bad ones. I said, where's the media calling? Where's the Christians calling? Where are you? Why don't you fight me? Where's ISIS? Any ISIS out there? No. Cowards. Yeah. I say, ISIS, you're a coward. You can't deal with me. See, you hear me say those things. Mm-hmm. They're afraid. Because they're cowards. They just do things that they don't face anybody, do they? So they are cowards. Keep them at bay. So the secret is this. What you have done is given the bad person an opportunity, because you've put your seed, to use a term, you put your seed in them. And that seed will germinate. And it will, and one of the two things will happen. He will wake up one morning and say, what's wrong with Roy? Why am I angry with Roy Masters, or you? He did nothing to me. I feel better now. It was in him. The other one will hate you like guts. And what will happen? He will deteriorate 10, 20 times as fast as he was before. And die. Now, if it's your mother-in-law, if it's whatever it is, you need, from the very beginning, to show strength and not yield. It was nice in the beginning to have an energy they cannot touch. But if it is otherwise, and you've married a long time, etc., whatever it is, and then you take up the fact that you've been hurt a bit, but you've discovered. And now you're going to have your first opportunity to stand up. You may feel you don't want to hurt his feelings. It's all about you, because you've been so nice to the person in the hope that that he will always be your friend and support the sense of worth in you. He's your dope pusher and you're the dope. And you're giving your whole life to him and not to God. Got that? Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden, when you have to say something to you feel like the rug's going to be pulled out from underneath you, and it is, because he walks away. But you could also come back and say, Roy, I know what you said about that, and I've thought about it, and I really appreciate the courage you had to share with me. You cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. if this country could hear what I'm saying, the people who are going to be used by Obama might change their mind. They may want to kill me. I'm all right. I'm 88, so I won't get to be 99, 89, will I? It's all about being who you are. Because we're not animals. We're not here just to reproduce and the weakest gets eaten by the lion. Right? And the weaker one eats something that's even weaker. Right? We're here to stand our ground for the love of our Creator, which represents who created the universe and is waiting for you to suffer and to stand your ground on the basis of the principles of virtue that everybody has when they come into the world. And you may lose it for a little while and then feel uncomfortable for that little while and listen to a voice like mine or the voice in your head, which is not a voice, but all of a sudden it asserts itself and you're grateful. You go on your knees or something. But with me, you don't have to go on your knees. All I have to do is listen to the 7-minute meditation. And it will put you on your mental knees. That's all. You can't remember all that, nor can I. So if you ask me what I said, I can't remember it. She's very helpful. Thank you very much. Is there any question that I haven't answered?
This is different than the subject, but you were talking about John Wayne, and I had this memory, which I've actually had a few times. Excuse me?
He owned this ranch.
Oh, he did? Well, I was thinking about him, and I was thinking about when I was a little girl, Charlton Heston. I saw Ben-Hur, and I just loved
Isn't
him.
that beautiful? Beautiful story.
And I loved men like that. And I remember when Reagan was running for president, I was a liberal then, you know. But I remember my father saying, in a very, derogatory way, that people are only looking for their father. And I always, when that has come back to me recently, I've remembered him saying that. It was all about me, and I was thinking about how painful that was for me to hear that and to remember that. But all of a sudden, as I'm sitting here, I'm realizing it's because he hated his father. His father was so cruel to him. And I just never saw it that way before.
But you know why a father is cruel?
Because the father was cruel before.
No, not necessarily. It's because he does not know how to deal with mother.
Well, yes, that's very true.
And therefore he's only got two choices, is to give in to the bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And she becomes more of a bitch. And he becomes either stronger than the bitch until the bitch cringes, see? Or he becomes an appeaser to the bitch, so he gets a little sex. But gives her a frustration and makes her hate him for his weakness and cause her to take advantage of him and make his life misery. And unconsciously, hopefully, without her knowing it, then maybe he might wake up and say, shut up, and mean it. I once saw an Indian. I remember certain things. I have a terrible memory. But when I see things that make sense, someone's got it and I didn't. See? So I'm watching a video that a movie friend of mine who's a big producer. I know a few decent people. I helped his son overcome, what do they call it when you have fits? Epilepsy. Overcome it. He called me, he said, can you hear it? Yeah, I cured him in 5 minutes. That's all it took. Then later on, he had another problem. 20 years later, I fixed that too for him. But what was the question I was going to ask? Oh, dear. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Oh, no.
were talking about epilepsy.
Yeah, no, but
a movie, you said you saw a movie.
I saw a movie, yes. And the movie was a little commercial. It was made in India. But my friend showed me this. So here's a scene. Here's a scene. And this is another way you can deal with it. Ignore it. Ignore the problem. Ignore the bitch. Okay? And so instead of fighting, she's sitting reading the paper. And she wants to say something to him. She pulls the paper and puts it on the floor. She picks up the paper and continues reading. So she picks the paper and puts it on the floor. I go, you hear what I have to say? Picks up the paper, starts reading it. And she takes the paper away and puts it on the floor. And she walks away. And he's reading it. Couldn't be better. It's the example. See, my wife is difficult. You think she bothers me? She gets bothered for bothering me. I get stronger. She gets weaker. Now, that's 64 years. But I hold hope for her. See, the difference is, why do you want to marry me? Because I said I would. I gave my oath till death do us part. I'm not going to kill you. You'll do it to yourself. So she's beginning to wake up. You see how feisty she was yesterday?
Yes.
She's memory coming back. I could help, if I could get all the people lose memories, I can help them to fix it. Otherwise, they turn into statues. Now, your emotional state is the sin. Understand, emotion is reaction to what somebody puts a feeling, their feelings, their anger and hatred into you, and make you a slave of that, or a representative of that to the next victim. And Obama knows how to do that, or tyrants know how to set that emotion. Ripples. Doing unto others what was done to you. And so the whole country is politically correct. Not me. So you don't hear much about me much anymore in the press. I've got 90 stations, it's not much, but have helped millions of people. And amongst those millions of people could be those who are going to stand up for themselves. I'm warning you that when Obama's army appears and he opens the prison gates and takes the lowest of the low, and he deputizes that there'll be boots on the ground, and he has his army about 1 million. That's why he's weakening our soldiers, weakening the strength of our soldiers. It's not so much for the world, it's for him to take over the country. Do you understand that? So why aren't you out there doing something, especially if you're retired? You've got nothing to lose except friends. Or just fiends, and keep your friends. And get those friends together and create groups, armed. But be careful, because when Black America, which is most, and do you understand? Did you know that in New York they have, I think, 35,000 or more policemen? 10% of those are the word Muslim. I don't trust Muslims. They don't fit in this country. This is one nation under God. they got the wrong God. They don't belong here. They don't have the right. They don't have a God. They have him underground. He wants to kill you, and then he appreciates you.
They don't assimilate.
We can't assimilate them. They will start to grow, and they are merciless. They'll kill you. They're quiet, and they're coming in by the thousands. They're already here 25 years ago. They're just waiting for things to be ripe, and the door will be closed. Martial law. Civil disobedience needs to come first. And if you wait, your fate will be doomed, and America can never come back. The borders will be closed, and you will not get out.
It's the same in Europe.
You know, believe it or not,
Can you stand?
believe it or not, you might be skeptical, but to me, Twitter is a fantastic way to reach a lot of people.
Can you
because
do it?
I do that all the time.
I do it on. You get all my stuff on
Right,
Facebook,
but I mean,
on Facebook.
if I have 50 followers and he has 100 followers, and you write the comments, you know, the truth, tell the truth
Well, I
about.
put my materials. I put
Right.
these radio programs on, TV programs.
Right,
on.
but if all of us did that, you know, and we speak
I
the truth.
I joined, and I'm getting people coming.
Right,
Saying happy birthdays. I've got thousands of all kinds. I didn't know I had them there.
okay. Really, because I thought maybe you didn't have enough, because when I look, I don't see that many people liking it. So I thought, well, maybe he should
Well, it
mention
seems
it.
like it seems like I get hundreds of them.
Okay. Maybe I'm
so-
looking at the wrong one, that I don't know.
Do I have my videos up there?
Yes, on the
Yeah.
app, you mean?
Yeah.
But I
So
mean,
maybe we don't have the right kind of. I'm always looking for titles, because you never get. If you don't have the right title, you lose everybody.
right, okay.
You only got about 30 seconds, and then it's all over. I was always looking for the right title, so maybe I get the wrong titles. Who knows?
All right, but if all of us did that, you know, we can still get
Have
the
you
word
looked
out.
at Facebook?
I don't do Facebook.
Did you take a look?
I'm faceless.
Oh. Well, anyway, thank you for coming. Unless you have something to share, I think we can have a lunch, and you sit and talk to each other. I go home. I'm taking some medicine to get rid of that infection, but I've had it for 12 years, so it's not easy. So I'm a little bit wobbly right now. Can you imagine when I'm not wobbly? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is, we have a small group here, and the newspaper had done their job. I used to have 500 people coming here, but we have a few people coming and all I need is a few people who like it, because I have thousands and thousands and millions of people out there listening. When I came to America, there was 150,000 people here. 50 million. 1.5 million. Oh, I said that wrong too. 150 million. Now we got 350 million. And so people are dying, and new people are born. And I tried to build a network with my son, and we got 900 stations. It became the biggest network in the country. But Soros, you won't hear about this. We have a huge lawsuit, huge, and we can't lose. He broke us by making sure we didn't get paid for our work. That firm held back. Claps. We still got 400 stations. I'm on 9 of them. Just a little story. When I was in Los Angeles with about 20 stations, a man came in and gave me a piece of paper. He says, sign it. I said, what am I signing? He says, there's a place in in Medford to have a building permit to build a station that wasn't there. I said, I don't have the money to do all that. I need lawyers. He says, just do it. So then I wrote it down. I put my wife and my daughter on there because women are more considered. Anyway, we won. I said, what the hell do I do with that? So it's lawyers, lots of it, and time. He says, buy them out. So I gave $10,000. I bought them out. But then I have to find a mountain. I had to build a building. So I bought a building. And then a gentleman from Israeli somehow appeared, and he became a partner. And this was a family thing. It did not belong to the foundation. And so we built it. Art Bell. Have you ever heard Art Bell? Okay, I bought him from my friend, from Cadorn. I became his friends because I was the first person on his little station here. When I come to, and then he built this big station in Nevada. See, and we became good friends for life. He passed away, but I talked to him. He had Art Bell. I said I'd like to buy him because he didn't like him, and the lady worked for him but didn't like me. But he sold it to me. A lady comes up and gives me 50 grand. I pay that. I got Art Bell. Art Bell then went to 400 stations. But he wouldn't let me do my program because he quit. He just went, so I let it, and the money came in, and then I sold it for $8 million. And in those days, $9 million. And in those days, I could keep all of it, most of it. But I gave the money, I gave it to the foundation, so to be proprietors, because there was a little bit of work that I was doing with them in that. So our family gave up that money to the foundation, and the foundation began to flourish. And that's the story. And then when it began to flourish, we had war. Newspaper says, full across the stream, cult leaders, that's why we only have a few people here. I had 500 people here. And they all believed the paper. Slowly but surely they disappeared. See, so you're left. But still, we got 90 stations. And now I'm needed more than ever because I'm terrifying the media. They don't have any power over me anymore. And stations are picking me up because I'm saying things that need to be said in this time. Never mind commercials and advertising. They give me time, but I still have to spend money on the machinery. If you go to Central Point here, you'll see 3 houses in a row, that's where it is. I have to maintain that. See, I have to have people there working, understand the machinery. I have to send it up satellites. I have to have people doing the, monitoring my program, producers. I didn't have to do that before. I produced my own program. And so when we got to 800 stations, we became bigger than ABC. I mean, all this is, of course, commercials, but it's me also. And Osaurus behind the scenes, and billionaires behind the scenes. We actually created our own rep firm. We created it for them to sell commercials. But then it made them promise that they don't have talk show hosts. They just collect money and keep their share and give to us. And what they did is one day they just wouldn't give it. We can't pay the bills. See? And then we made an agreement with it, and they broke that. We sued them. Now they've grown to be the hugest network in the whole world. And they're losing billions of dollars every year because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They already fired the important ones. They let him out of the office and escorted him out. And now we have a huge, huge lawsuit. And it begins this week. And we may take over that place. The whole thing, the whole thing, so everything bad happens for good. See, we will win this because they broke their promise twice. Foundation of Human Understanding only owns 19%. But it used to be owning 80%. They changed it. So that doesn't mean anything because I still have to you see, because just because you own 19% doesn't mean you have a freebie. I have to pay this. We have to pay the station for the time. So it's not free for the foundation because it's an investment. Do you understand that, everybody? So that's where the money's going. I don't have enough money to keep the 17, 90 stations because I only had 20 to start with. And because I'm saying things, people get cringe. These days, people are just so weak. Because all these things are happening. I can see them happening, but they can't. They only see what's happening to themselves because they don't have 2 cars. And they have to, they have to spend their money on cigarettes and drugs, and that's all what's wrong with them. They can't see it. They just hear the news, but they don't know what the hell to do because they haven't got any courage. This country is a gutless lot. The men are just pushed aside. Obama is treacherous. And you can't say the word because you're afraid you might just lose your job. Screw your job. Get up and start an organization. Go from door to door. Everywhere. No, they're still not going to do it. You won't do it. You won't do it. You won't do it because who's in your own business? Yeah, if you say something about Roy Masters, you can say goodbye to your business, can't you? That's where the point is. The media has power. So it's best not to do it. But you can pay somebody else to do it. There's always around it. What we need is civil disobedience now. If civil disobedience starts to work, you save your country. Every day you wait, it comes to martial law. Our soldiers will fight, but the million Muslims are here, and people taken out, the worst kind of people taken out of the jail, deputized will come to your door and shoot you. I'm going to take a few people out before I go. Or I'll just go. I do my program from some other station, from other country. Because there'll be a time where the borders will close and you won't get out. And then the laws are such that you're always guilty. They've made the laws so that you're always guilty. Simple. If you're guilty, you have to keep proving your innocence. You can't do that. That's what's happened. And they put you away into camps that are being built. You don't know you're having camps building up just nearby here. It's all hush hush. This country's screwed because you're cowardly lot. You don't respect. You do not respect your veterans. I don't see people clamoring, surrounding the VA hospitals and demanding. No, you go about your business, smoke, drink, No, you should do that. Civil disobedience. Shut everything down. Shut it down. But what I'm trying to say to it, nothing happens. Just people keep calling about their problems and girlfriends. That's all they care about. And I don't think I can help cancer, post-traumatic stress disorder. Did you hear people calling for me that? They know. You hear me do it on the radio. Man calls up and says, if it wasn't for you in Vietnam, I wouldn't be here today. Over and over and over again. Doesn't affect them. They're thick-skinned. You brought down your own country, you stupid fools. Where's the big money to reverse what's going on in our country? All you got is good money for the left, and then you got money on the right, and you find there's no difference between them. All you got is on the left there's the bitch, on the right you got the son of a bitch, and they both own you, and they fight after you, and if whichever gets you, you're still a slave. So if you have a mother and father, it's all you got, and they're both no damn good, it doesn't matter which one who's got you. There's no other choice. Try God in your heart and not worry about circumstance. That's the key. They want to piss you off? Let them do it. I can tell you I've never fought a fight. I say it differently. I've been around the world. And my strength is 150 pounds of whatever it is, meat. And I've been some places. And I never lose a fight I didn't start. So I wait for it to start. And then I do them in. I pick them up. If necessary, take them, have a cup of coffee, etc. On the other hand, as I get older, they run away from me. They leave. You know I don't know what marijuana smells like. You don't dare bring that to me. I don't say it. I don't have people coming up to me as walking down the street. No. There's no pushes in my life. They just stay away. They don't pick a fight with me. They stay away. I can walk through the world and just leave me alone. They won't touch me. But if you walk down the street, you ladies, and you give in, and you go along, and you have that weakness about it, they read you, and the predator knows how to read you. Your president is a predator. And you've elected him, and you've elected him a second time. You have cursed your whole country to not recovering. And if you're going to recovery, you're going to lose half of your country to death. You're going to lose 150 million people, if you're lucky. So you better make some preparations. You need to get out of the big cities. You need to go to maybe Texas or something, or leave the country. But I suggest you stay here and fight for it. So thank you. You might want to get a copy of this and play it to your friends, and you can also let them download your download. Your download will go forever. It will always be the exact copy. So download this program and give it to your friends and tell them for me what a bunch of nothings they really are. Okay, thank you very much.